Alright guys, we're here with Nicholas from Tranquility. How you doing, man?
I'm pretty well. There's a massive flu epidemic in the bus, so everyone is kind of sick and has a sore throat, so I probably sound like the clerk in The Simpsons.
Oh man, I'm sorry that you're sick, man.
It always happens when you're 15 people living in a bus for a month,
right.
So but it's no big deal. Shows are going great and everyone is kind of on the top of the game and really focused on the show, so it's going fine.
Okay, well, what do you got? This is the last gig of the tour, right?
Yeah.
Okay. With the album that you got out now, is it a reissue album that you're touring on now, or a new album, or?
I guess it's technically a reissue album. It was supposed to be out in time for the first show, but due to some unforeseen delays, it actually got released, I think, 3 weeks into the tour.
Mm-hmm.
So it is a reissue of the Fiction album, featuring a bonus DVD with live footage from European festivals last summer, as well as I think four songs that aren't on the original version.
All right. Well, you guys have been around for what, 18 years now? I guess it is.
18 or 19.
Yeah. Okay. Looking back from and when I was a teenager, I can remember it too. How has, in your eyes, the record industry changed from the time you guys started until now?
Oh, wow.
In your words.
Yeah, well, there's a world of difference, of course. I guess the main thing is when we started out, we were part of the whole tape trading circuit, right. And I think back then, getting an album deal wasn't really commonplace as it is today. I mean, everyone can put out an album, either self-financed or they can find a deal with some label. But back then it was normal for bands to spend 4 or 5 years on working hard, doing self-promotion, doing, well, demos, a 7-inch EP. Those were really commonplace back then. So things were a bit more selective back then. Right. Of course, I'm a jaded old guy, so I think that was for the better, because then you kind of had to work really hard to actually get there. And I don't really mean that getting an album deal is that it will change the world for a band, because it doesn't work like that. But you kind of you had to pay your dues before
right.
actually getting into a situation where you could spend time and effort on actually making an album. And I think that kind of shows. I mean, a lot of albums that get released these days really should have been demos. They should have been like the first trial recording for a band. Mm-hmm. And well, apart from that, you have the whole internet, you have MP3 downloads, you have MySpace, you have right. file sharing, so it's a completely different world.
That's what I was going to ask you, with the whole the internet thing, the free down, when people doing free downloading. Do you think that has hurt bands all across, or do you think it's a good, because it can be a good thing and it can be a bad thing, but
it's kind of complicated. I mean, I remember when the whole Napster thing, the Napster debate was on, I really thought that Lars had a good point in a way, that people shouldn't take for granted that music is something that's just available there. And then we got to the US for the first time, and I met so many people that first heard our music through the internet, mm-hmm. and eventually progressed to buying the albums and coming to the show. So it's kind of, there are so many pros and cons that it's really hard to evaluate. I honestly don't know what I think of it. I can only see that it is affecting things. It's a good promotion tool. And still within more like specialized genres like metal, people, they are fans for real. They tend to want to support the bands. They want to have the real physical album in the collection. So I think on the whole for us, it has definitely helped. But then again, what a lot of people don't really realize, because it's so easy just saying that, well, downloading only hurts the record labels and all that, but in order to actually be able to tour, bands usually need the financial support of the labels, mm-hmm. and that means getting having healthy album sales as well. So it's kind of, you can't really have the cake and eat it in a way. Right. But I mean, I'm a pirate myself, so it would be totally hypocritical of me to right. say no to download. I mean,
yeah, I think it's not going to go anywhere, right? So bands should just go ahead and embrace it, right?
Yeah, do the best out of it. And again, I mean, it's I do think that we need to make a standpoint that buying an album really helps the band in so many more ways than what people usually think. I mean, it's not really about getting that, I don't know, 50 cents or whatever that bands get for the album sales, but just in order to be on the radar for touring, for festivals, and sort of being able to do the band thing on a higher level, then you kind of need the sales.
Right. Well, with as long as you've been around and you have a big fan base here and in Europe, have you come across any types of stories from your fans through the years that say, man, your music has really just changed my life? Without you guys, we wouldn't have gone through it?
Definitely. I mean, we hear those stories quite often. It can be flattering, it can be a bit scary sometimes. I mean, to us, we're basically just music fans. I mean, we do our best to create quality music that resonates within us, and if other people can get something out of it, that's great. But it's kind of awkward or weird hearing someone say that our music has saved their lives or whatever. I mean, it is a great compliment, but you don't really know what to do with it, because it's kind of too big for you to take in. But sure, I mean, there are lots of stories, people like having found each other through music, and that our albums and lyrics have helped people through hard times and all that. But it's you kind of appreciate it, but at the same time you can't really do so much.
It kind of makes you cringe too sometimes, right?
Yeah, in a while. I mean, we're just people, and it's just music, But of course, it's great that music actually can have that kind of impact on people.
Well, that's one of my next questions was, when you guys sit down to create an album, to write an album, do you keep that in mind? Do you sit there and you say, I wonder if we put this out, will our fans hate us, or do you just say, no, we're going to make it for us?
Mainly, we make it for us. I mean, we're 6 people in the band with quite different music taste anyway, so it's hard enough getting all of us on the same page. So if we'll start thinking about what fans would think, and our fan base is quite diverse anyway, it just wouldn't work to take that into consideration. I think if you start thinking about those things, you can kind of hit the downward slope quite easily, because then you start thinking in terms of like sales, in terms of marketing, in terms of how would like the metal community react to this, and then the music becomes more of entertainment than art or something genuine. So we don't really think of it, or we try not to think of it too often.
Well, one question I was going to ask you is, within the metal community, a lot of us tend to think that with this music we like to be more diverse and accepting, but at the same time there's also a lot of, well, this style of metal is better than this style of metal and things like that. Do you see that a lot out on? Do you hear like certain things when you're on a tour like this? Part1, who's a great band, Christian Death, Divine Heresy. There's so many different groups. Do you find it's harder to, especially here in America, to come to, I guess, relate to an audience when there's such a diverse group?
I don't know. I mean, I actually do think that compared to some European countries, the American audience is actually a bit more open-minded. Like I can't really see a package like this working to 100% in Europe, for example in Germany or some of the more conservative countries, but I do think that American metalheads are a bit more open-minded, and I mean, even if they have their favorite style like anyone else, but I think that they do tend to be more accessible to different kinds of metal as well. And I think it has worked really good on this tour. You have bands that play quite different types of metal, but all of them are getting a good response, and I believe from the same people. So I mean, it's, of course there is some truth to that, like people being narrow-minded, but at the same time I do think that people that come to shows like these are quite open to all bands.
Well,